Welcome to another episode of the Beefy Boys Breakdowns, episode 173. We're going to be recapping all of UFC Saudi Arabia, headlined by Whittaker and Aliskerov. Man, this card was hanging on by a thread, bro. There was I think 8 different fight opponent switches and fight swaps. But at the end of the day, the Dana White really is. I'll give credit where credit's due. He can kind of save an event, and pull shit out of his ass like really nobody else in combat sports. I mean, you think about what just happened with Jake Paul and Mike Tyson, and they swapped in Mike Perry, but they also had to push the event back 2 months or whatever.
Right.
Dana White's ability to kind of keep these events alive is pretty impressive. Not going to lie.
Well, also, I think when you're dealing with Riyadh and Saudi Arabia and Turkey Sheikh, however you say it, Alhamdulillah, sorry, Turkey. Gotta show respect to the people that own us.
Yeah, dude, that was cringe. Just the level,
the Saudi cringiness.
Balls.
And that was another big part of this card, right? Is this was an on ABC free card, but as far as Saudi Arabia was concerned, it should have been a pay-per-view. Dana's probably selling it as we're not going to do a pay-per-view here yet, because he didn't even think they could put women on the card. I'll be honest. I think he did that out of respect. No women fighting on this card. However, Turkey did say he said in an interview that he'd like to have women's fights, which I think that's a strategic move. I think he literally was Dana, no women's fights in the first one. Make it be my idea that we get women's fights. I really do think it's a deep political plot with the UFC over there.
It is, and I don't know if anybody up there is a fan of the Pat McAfee show. Back whenever Live Golf and all that was brand new, they talked about the whole sports washing thing. And I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty fucking brilliant.
It is, sports, yeah.
We all know that the news and shit is bullshit and propaganda, but guys like us, we'll watch sports. We don't really care where it's taking place. So like I said, if you have Francis Ngannou fighting, or you have Robert Whittaker fighting, we'll hear what you have to say, right? But if Al-Sheikh went on CNN, we'd be like, yeah, right, whatever. You know what I mean? So it's a pretty brilliant strategy to kind of no. We had a kind of conversation in the group text yesterday about Saudi Arabia. Maybe not everybody would agree with, but part of my problem with Saudi Arabia is the whole how they treat women shit. So if this guy's gonna try to advance that forward a little bit, then it's a starting point.
To be fair to Saudi Arabia, in the last 15 to 20 years, they've started to revolutionize their culture a lot. Foreign women can drive there now, which that sounds silly, but there's a lot of stuff. You saw women in the crowd last night that didn't have to cover their face, and I think women can attend college and such there now. They have an actual treaty in place with Israel between Egypt and them in a 3-way treaty. So Saudi Arabia is actually trying to modernize the way that they interact with the world, which good on them, because they're so rich that we're alluding to, they can kind of buy their way into the fun parts of the world and make themselves look great and kind of have this awesome cover story for all the dark shit they're doing behind the scenes that we know they're doing.
Yeah, to be honest, it ain't that different from the American playbook. We do fucked up shit all over the world, but hey, we're gonna give you rock and roll, we're gonna give you hip hop, we're gonna give you Tom Cruise movies, and we can kind of make it all jive. So I don't want to be too hypocritical. We do a lot of the same shit, but let's get to the topic at hand here. Bobby Knuckles, Robert Whittaker. Chance to gloat a little bit because we didn't cash a bunch of tickets yesterday, although we did have a bunch of correct picks, so we're going to kind of take it a little easy on us. But yeah, man, we were all over this Robert Whittaker pick. Now, I'll say, even us, we didn't really see the first round finish coming. We thought maybe it would be a war of attrition, that the 4th and 5th rounds would really be in Bobby Knuckles' favor. But because, Ikram Aliskerov hadn't really been to the deep waters yet. But hey, man, Robert Whittaker got it done in round 1. He came in as a minus 150 favorite. We love that number. Unfortunately, we got him at minus 170. It's all good.
I still liked it as 3 stars. I mean, that was 3-star value all day long. That was one that, man, I loved him, and he fucking came through for me. And shout out to Robert Whittaker. I just should have put more on him, I think, in all honesty. I'm mad at myself for not just straight betting him at the number. Because honestly, man, when they walked out and I realized, oh yeah, this is unranked versus number 3, fucking Bobby Knuckles, 1D out of the 4 guys at the top right now. I think we should have been more all over it in hindsight, and that's whatever.
I mean,
But
we had him on 2 parlays. I feel you on missing the straight bet. In hindsight's 2020, but we had him on 2 parlays. We made YouTube Shorts videos, kind of puffing our chest out with that pick, and so yeah, I mean, we were all in on Bobby Knuckles. Ikram, I still don't think Ikram's like a bad fighter, and he probably still has a really bright future with the company. It was just like we said in our betting episode, it was too much too soon, and I mean that really was. Even like Robert Whittaker's feints and shit,
he
you could
looks
tell like
so
Ikram
good.
so flat footed. So you could tell he had never even really like, because even like Khamzat doesn't like feint and have like subtleties to his striking and like elevated like mental game making read striking. He's more of a bruiser, charging forward, throwing bombs, like leading them into takedowns type of style. The fact that Robert Whittaker was kind of, setting things up and feinting, and honestly, Ikram kind of froze up from the feints. It looked like, at least to my, untrained eye.
Yeah, Ikram was like, there was a point in the fight, probably 30 seconds in, where you saw Ikram kind of just lean to the left, like looking to see if it was going to change like Whittaker's motion and feints, and it really didn't. Like Whittaker, you could tell like was working what he was wanting to work. He wasn't really giving Aliskerov too much respect. And a lot of that has to do with how good Whittaker's footwork was. Man, last night he was like the in and out movement from Whittaker last night was crazy good at the start. And then that's what, honestly, if you think about it, it's like a minute and 20 seconds in when Whittaker rocks him with just a straight, like it's a jab cross that he leans into and the cross just lands flush. I mean, that's not all that complicated and not that long into the fight.
Well, so and shut up, man. I wish I remember who the account was, because they did a fantastic job. And this dropped like hours after the fight. There was this Instagram reel that like broke it down where like every time Robert Whittaker would feint, kind of do that Izzy hip twitch, like fake the kick. Ikram would do almost like the Sean Strickland like check where he like brings his knee up.
Oh yeah.
And so like this Instagram reel did a great job of breaking it down. There was 2 times where Robert Whittaker would feint the kick, Ikram would bring his leg up. So if you bring your leg up, you're on one leg, you can't step back out of range.
Right.
So that's how Bobby timed that first right hand. He on the 3rd time's the charm. Fool me once, shame on you. The 3rd time he did it, Ikram brought that leg up like the Sean Strickland kind of check, and you by definition couldn't get out of the way of the right hand because he's on one foot. So yeah, it was really sick. I wish I remember the account. I could shout him out, but that Instagram reel did a great job breaking down those X's and O's.
Well, and it was great, too, because I don't know if they covered the first punch he throws, make sure that Aliskerov doesn't keep fading right, because he throws it outside of his right side to pretty much freeze him for the right hand that's coming behind that left jab. It was beautiful. Whittaker, obviously, then I liked how they broke it down afterward as well. Shout out to the UFC booth. Talking about how he was patient. It was like veteran savvy. He was setting up the shots. He picked like the head kick instead of trying to flurry him, which then he reset and then found the uppercut right off of that immediately. It was nice. And then didn't just like go for the walk-off either. Like I like that he kind of second of pause, but not enough to give Aliskerov a chance to recover, because obviously he fed him 3 hard lefts and it was over.
Well, yeah, man, it was textbook, just surgical, right? Like no wasted movement, no wasted energy. And also, like, being that patient allowed him to be more accurate with his shots. And, he was – so many guys how many guys do we see hurt a guy and then gas themselves out beating on the guard or beating on the elbows, and then Robert Whittaker was able to really be precise and pick his shots and really finish that fight in a surgical fashion. The right hand wobbled him. Shout out to Johnny Walker being on the card, because Ikram was on them Johnny Walker legs. He was doing the chicken dance for sure. And then he follows it up with the head kick, which doesn't really land, but like knocks him off balance, and you can tell he's just discombobulated. Now he's like, oh shit, there's head kick coming my way. Then the uppercut was just could not be more clean.
God, it was beautiful. And it honestly, we got to remember that for Aliskerov moving forward. Like uppercuts are the way he gets finished.
Oh yeah. 2
I mean,
for 2
to be fair, it's
KO.
really a right cross that absolutely floors him, and in the first one, it's just him stepping into the uppercut. But either way, I thought it was very serendipitous that the uppercut finishes him there, especially this early. Like this feels like a dominant win for Whittaker. This feels like, and unfortunately, Chael. I mean, yeah, for sure it was. But and Chael's talked about it. Whittaker alluded to it afterward. Fighting in Perth, he took no damage. Let's get it rocking. Why wouldn't he? Now, question is, who's his opponent? Because Izzy and DDP are now signed to fight in August.
It has to be Strickland.
I
And
know it,
Strickland.
but is Strickland, like, should he even take that? Is where I go with that to his side. Like, I understand that's the matchup. I understand that's what's going to be made. If I'm Strickland, though, you're having to pay me a lot not to just sit and wait for the winner of DDP Izzy, because I mean, I still thought he won the fight against DDP, and he has a win over Izzy that Izzy hasn't gotten back.
I know. It's a real whodunit here, because that's all very true, and that argument does make perfect sense. Say, if I'm a lawyer on the other side, I'm making the argument. You had a snoozy ass bullshit fight with Costa. My guy just got a first round finish in a main event. And you add on top of that recency bias, the last thing that's fresh in the fans' mind, the last thing that's fresh in Dana White's mind, and you have the willingness, like how Strickland, after his snoozy decision win, was like, I'm taking my oars out of the water. Robert Whittaker was like, hey, give me on the Perth card, let me be a backup fighter. So he's being more of a company man. I don't know, I get Sean Strickland, like I said, if we're lawyer on lawyer here, arguing each side of the case, Sean Strickland has a hard, as a solid case. But Robert Whittaker with the highlight finish,
let me give you one really.
I think his lawyer would have a good point as well.
Let me give you one really shitty option that seems like it could be done for Perth. Imavov Whittaker, 3 versus 4.
That's I think that's worst case scenario.
Yes, I agree. But if Strickland is smart and declines the fight, which he should do, because I mean he's within his rights to say that's not enough time. Because at this point it is 8 weeks, and maybe he does want a 10-week camp. He did just fight fucking Costa. He's been on vacation. I would understand if he passed on it, and if he passes on it, I mean it's got to be Imavov.
That's gross. I'm also a noted Imavov hater.
Or Brendan Allen. Are you giving Brendan Allen that shot?
See, I really do think that there's on a different tier list.
Now,
I think that.
Let me give you 2 other options that are dark horse. Khamzat, again, we rebook it. Or no Bickle.
Well, no Bickle called out Shar. I think that's the fight they're going to make. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Nice.
I think that makes a lot of sense. Man, I'm trying to find these bonuses. Robert Whittaker had to get a bonus for that, right?
Oh, I got it right here. It's Robert Whittaker. Actually, all bonuses except for one are on the main card. But yes, Whittaker definitely got one. No fight of the night, 4 performance of the nights.
I'm kind of fine with that. There wasn't a ton of bangers. Actually, Jared Gordon should have got 5
I was going to say, there was for sure some bangers in the prelims.
No doubt. But yeah, Robert Whittaker, well deserved on that bonus. I think you either got to do Whittaker Sean, or and here's another argument why you got to do Whittaker Sean, even though it's not ideal for Sean, because Sean's going to get skipped, bro. If Whittaker's the backup fighter for Izzy DDP, he's getting the next shot. That's just, there's so much precedent set that the backup fighter gets next. And you're doing the UFC a favor. You're being a company man. If Sean would have finished Paul, I think we're having a different a different conversation here, man. He got a pretty much a snoozy decision over the number 7 ranked guy in the world. I get it. That night on this podcast, I was saying, yeah, Sean, take your oars out of the water. I couldn't have predicted. Well, this fight wasn't even scheduled yet, Ikram. It was still Khamzat at that point. And you could argue that Robert probably doesn't get the first round finish over Khamzat. And so...
Right, yeah, I would argue that.
This scenario wasn't even on the table. To come out and get a first round, bonus winning, main event, starching, knockout of the year candidate.
Unranked opponent that didn't deserve it, just took it on last minute replacement. Just throwing that out there as far as quality of opponent, because Costa is a much higher quality opponent.
Maybe.
I
get the ranking.
We have a lot more track record with Costa in the UFC. A lot more. Yeah. And, bro, sample size, we got to start putting more weight on sample size, because a lot of these guys that we like are guys that win 2 or 3 fights. I'm liking guys that win 8 or 9 at this point.
You're not right. Shout out Kung Ho King, though. But, but no, and that's a fair point. I think it's pretty fair to compare where Ikram was last night to where Khamzat was during the Usman fight. right? Like I'm pretty sure Khamzat was unranked, but it was like an asterisk unranked. It's like we all know this guy is a top 15 guy. Like, yeah, he doesn't technically have like the
but he
standing in the
did it.
company.
Like, and now I'm wondering if Ikram is a top 10 guy. Like, I think he's top 15. I wonder if he's top 10 after that performance.
And that's totally fair question to ask. I'm just saying more of like saying he's unranked. You kind of got to take it with a grain of salt. Like who's the 15th ranked middleweight right now?
I got it right here. It is Chris Curtis.
Yeah, like I'm a Chris Curtis hater, so take it with a grain of salt. But I'll take Ikram over Chris Curtis. Like honestly, like
I think Anthony Hernandez is interesting against Ikram. I think Pereira is interesting for a little bit, not long. Like I think one round would be interesting. Baralio would be super interesting with Ikram. But I think that's my point. Is like he floats in that 10 to 15 range right now, as far as how I perceive him.
Yeah, and I even saw that before the L. Like before the L, I'm pretty sure I had Ikram power rank 12 or something like that. So right. Like I said, I'm not saying he's a world beater, but saying he's unranked is just a little bit. It's true. It's factually true. I just don't know like perception.
I also just think like late last minute replacement. Like he was going to fight Trocoli, who we saw was obviously can worthy. A totally different opponent. Had to prolong his whole camp for one extra week. Like I think there was a lot against Aliskerov.
Staying on weight for 2 weeks and traveling to Saudi Arabia is gnarly. Like that's gnarly. Like that's not a recipe for success. And when we talked about that on our YouTube short video, we're telling you to bet Bobby Knuckles.
So I just think that like as great as this win was for Bobby Knuckles, a lot of the detractors would say what I just went over, which is that the quality of the opponent was greatly diminished versus like a Costa.
That's fair, and at the risk of beating a dead horse, we'll keep it pushing. But like, I do think the first round finish, like kind of compensates for that, right? Like it's like a juxtaposition: 3 round snoozy decision over top 10 guy, first round highlight starching of lesser opponent. But like,
I think the Vegas odds help more than anything because Strickland was a heavier favorite over Costa than Robert Whittaker was over Aliskerov. I think that's the one argument you go with that helps Whittaker in this case is that, hell, even Vegas thought it was a pick'em almost. So,
it's actually a really fair point. That's actually a really fair point. Let's keep it pushing into this co-main, which did not go down how. And this is another one where we got this pick wrong, but everybody did. Like, verdict, the number 1 pick was Pavlovich, first round KO.
You know who didn't get this wrong?
Podcaster,
Volkov. Because in his post-fight, he talked about this is exactly how sparring would go. There were a couple things he expected me to do that I didn't do, and I knew that he would expect that, so me not doing them was the tricks. I was like, oh, man.
5-ranked Volkov. Has Volkov been top 5 for like the past 10 years? Like I'm not even exaggerating. Like,
and
at
honestly,
least, what,
he's
6
getting
years?
better, though. He is getting better. Like, he is getting better to the point where he doesn't take damage near as much, and he fights behind his jab. And I think he's put on some weight as well.
And like the accuracy of the jab, because you can throw a jab out there, but
like, he fights really smart.
Kicks were gnarly too, right under the elbow, because you're getting your guard up, because you're getting peppered with jabs, and he'll slide that kick right under the elbow. I thought he might have got a finish with a liver kick. He was getting so close to that liver shot.
Yeah, I hate to say it, the only time Volkov did anything questionable, in my opinion, was like mid-third round when he was kind of brawling with Pavlovich, but I almost wondered if at that point, like he's used to the sparring matches with him and he knows that at 12 minutes with Pavlovich, he doesn't have the same power. I wonder.
Yeah, and Pavlovich was busted up. Obviously, Volkov was flowing and feeling himself and probably felt like he had a fucking 10-inch cock at that moment. Like he was, you know what I mean? Like Volkov was feeling it. He was 10 foot tall and bulletproof in that moment.
I did think Pavlovich was doing like good enough in the rounds that they were like. I thought 1 was close, and then I thought 2 and 3 were just pretty much 10-9s. I didn't think he was getting like dominated per se, but he was definitely not winning. And the overall damage battle by the end of the fight, you definitely knew who won based off that.
The judge that gave Pavlovich a round, it was round 1, not round 3.
Round 1, yeah.
If anything, maybe I'm crazy. I would have, if I had to give Pavlovich a round, it might have been 3, just because, like we alluded to, Volkov was engaging with him in round 3 and allowing Pavlovich to kind of get some shots off.
Volkov lands some bombs near the end of 3. I rewatched that one today. I think Volkov secured 3 late, but I think in 1, Pavlovich landed like 2 or 3 shots that Volkov ate really well, but they were solid.
Yeah, but Volkov looked fan-fucking-tastic, bro. Like, as far as Pavlovich goes, like, if you're gonna eat the jabs anyway, you might as well eat it getting close and throw. Like he would
Yeah.
like get backed off. And I know it's easier said than done. And a jab from Volkov must suck dick, especially when your nose is destroyed. But like if you're gonna eat it anyway, like step in and throw back. You know what I mean? He would eat it and then step back out of range, eat another one. Like he really failed to kind of like bite down on the mouthpiece, as they say, and just you know what I mean? Because that
I think Volkov has a pretty stiff jab. I mean, if you're looking at how busted up
so
Pavlovich
stiff.
got, like, and there were a
Oh
couple times
yeah.
Pavlovich did load up and would like swing a big hook, and his hand would fall halfway through because he was getting just stiff jab halfway through his hook. Volkov had
I guess
Pavlovich like dogged. I thought this fight like, and like I said, the only guy that knew,
competitive.
yeah, did not feel that competitive. Like it felt like every round Volkov was the better fighter in the round. More control, more technique, more distance management. There were no takedowns, so as far as striking goes, Volkov was the cleaner, more technical striker of the whole fight.
Agreed. I guess I'll phrase it as a question, and then we can keep it pushing. Think there's anything Pavlovich could have / should have done differently, like that could have allowed him to have more success? I guess that's where I'm getting at. Like
I think Pavlovich just needed to let it go, or
yeah, yeah.
he needed to do the Derek Lewis and be super inactive and just dance backwards for a long time and throw just huge 1-2-3s and like massive like that was pretty much it. Was either explode it and eat the damage or avoid the damage and then do these little explosions and then get back out and just be boring as shit and then because that's the way Derek
You're
Lewis
right.
essentially did it, was lulling Volkov to like safety, like making him feel like, oh, I got this.
When like you're right, Pavlovich. I don't know if he threw a 3-punch combo all night. It was just one big shot at a time. And yeah, you're right. That's actually a very good point. Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing about this. Pavlovich always had that like nuclear option that kind of outweighed the technique and allowed him to kind of get away with some bad habits. And yeah, that was exposed, right? That was exposed.
Yeah, moving forward, I like Volkov a lot. I think he probably gets the loser of Aspinall Blades, I would say. Maybe the winner, you could argue as well, depending on if Jones-Stipe is an actual retirement fight for both guys.
Yeah, that's a good point. Also, I think because Jonathan Almeida already fought Volkov, right?
No, I don't think so. Let me see Volkov's little tapology here. My other thing with Volkov is he has fought a lot of these guys,
Yeah,
so he is kind of in that like weird phase of like, all right, let's make sure we don't make him run something back. So he's fought, he lost by sub to Aspinall in 2022, but since then has beaten Rosenstruik, Romanov, Tuivasa, Pavlovich, and before then Tybura, Gon, Overeem.
he has the loss of. He's already fought Blades too. I'll say
Yeah, lost to Aspinall, lost to Gon, lost to Blades. Like he's just in such a tough spot.
I've seen him run it back with Aspinall. I mean, not Aspinall, with Gon.
I could see the Gon matchup, especially because he'll be ranked 3 now after beating Pavlovich.
Yeah,
Obviously, Blades is already fighting Aspinall. 1 against 4, 2 against 3 makes sense.
that's right. The Almeida fight was canceled, so I could see them. I could see them rebooking the Almeida fight too. I don't think that's a fight people necessarily want to see, but might just be like necessary for like the bracket of the division, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I could see.
But anyway,
Yeah, I could see Almeida Tybura too. But yeah, let's keep it pushing.
yeah. Let's keep it pushing. Yeah, shout out to Volkov though. Like I don't think anybody saw him really putting on a master class like that. Like that was, I mean, chef's kiss level of performance there. Up next, we got the Weight Miss Bowl. We got Kelvin Gastelum, 200. You got him at minus 225. Eldorado really fucked you on those odds. Taking on D-Rod, plus 165. The fight takes place at middleweight, was originally booked at welterweight.
D-Rod tried to get 180 catch weight. Gastelum said, I can't even make 180.
Yes, and this is where we don't have to fully rehash it, but yesterday in the group text we had a little difference of opinion on, because you stayed steadfast that God should not have ever accepted those terms and conditions. And in a vacuum, I think you're right. Like in a perfect world, I think you're right. But D-Rod coming off the year-long suspension, so he hasn't gotten a paycheck in 365 days. I think the man and all of us could relate to, like, you need some fucking money. I'm pretty sure D-Rod has a few kids. And so he was the B side of the fight. So my argument is that you're right. Like, matter of principle, he should not have accepted that fight. Argue that he really didn't have any leverage. The fact that he hasn't got paid in a year, and the fact that he was not he was the B side. He didn't really have the pull, the leverage. Like, I honestly think if D-Rod refused to accept that fight, they would have gotten some kind of Trocoli level of guy to step in, and he would just be on, as Chael would say, third base holding the catcher's mitt, not getting a paycheck. Yeah, he proved his point. Like, remember Wonder Boy did this against Michelle Pereira, right? Or I think that's who it was. Where he,
although Pereira missed weight, but Pereira tried to weigh in, missed weight by 5 pounds, and he wouldn't accept it.
I think it's comparable, and here's my point too. I think Wonder Boy has a lot more money than D-Rod. Like, he's in the position. He was the A side of that fight. He's a millionaire. We would at least hope he's a millionaire.
For Wonder Boy, I totally get it. I'm saying,
but I guess I'll turn the floor over to you. I just think that D-Rod wasn't necessarily in the position financially or leverage-wise, being the B side, to really call the shots here.
Yeah, the more I've thought about it, the more I'm just like, the UFC is just a bag of assholes for this. If I'm being honest, like, they better have paid D-Rod. Like, D-Rod better have gotten paid win and show, regardless of winning. In my opinion, like, that's the only way, if I'm D-Rod, that I take this fight, because, well, that's not true, man. Because I thought about too, he had a 13-week fight camp. He was off for a year. Like, I thought about all that, and the 13-week fight camp played a lot into it, because I know he spent a lot of money on that, expecting this to be at 170 and expecting to be able to win the fight. And if he could make 170 comfortably off a 13-week camp, then he had to have a big advantage over a guy that can't hardly make the weight. So D-Rod did everything right, and honestly got the short end.
Great, he fought great. Like, he lost the fight, but he had a lot of good moments.
I gave him the second round.
Yeah, I gave him the second round too, and I thought round one was close. Like, I think if you gave him the first, you're not like an insane person. Like, I mean, I gave it to Gastelum, but D-Rod had a lot of success in the first round as well. Like, there's a scenario where D-Rod potentially won the fight even at middleweight, but you're right. I think if this fight's at 170, D-Rod would have won. Gastelum's chin probably wouldn't have been as rock solid.
That was the craziest thing to me, was the chin and the power, because D-Rod came back to his corner and he said, this guy hits hard. Well, fuck, he's used to fighting welterweights, and this guy's a, like, middleweight trying to make welterweight that can't, so of course he has good power. Like, we've always known Kelvin hits hard, and that he can take a punch like a motherfucker at middleweight.
Bro, D-Rod timed some 1-2s that were, like, picture perfect. Like, you literally can't, like, also draw it up any better. And he did that, like, 10 times. It wasn't, like, one time where he had a moment of success. Like, there was, like, probably 10 different occasions over the course of these 3 rounds where, like, D-Rod landed what I would deem, like, fight-ending quality of shots that just Gastelum was able to eat for a multitude of reasons.
Well, bro, in our breakdown, that was whenever you brought this up to me, and I said you said it was going to take place at middleweight. I said he has an iron chin at middleweight. Like, he can't be finished. No guy on the earth has ever finished him at middleweight. There's not a one.
Bro. Like I said, those shots were like fight. Those were like fight-ending shots that D-Rod landed clean.
Bro, the shots
multiple times.
Think about the shots Izzy landed on him in the 5th round of their fight, and those didn't finish Kelvin. Those shots finished Pereira. Those shots have finished much, in our opinion, better fighters. So Kelvin's iron chin. Like, he is an iron chin guy. His head is massive. I think all in all, D-Rod just got such a short end of the stick, man. I woke up this morning, I thought more about it, and I'm just mad at the UFC for allowing that to happen that way. Like, that was messed up because Kelvin has the bigger name, because D-Rod hasn't made money. Like, all these reasons, D-Rod had to take this fight. Like, he couldn't say no.
Okay, thanks for coming around on that.
Well, D-Rod couldn't say no. Like, he should have said no, but he can't say no. Like, it's
Agreed.
fucked up.
Okay.
It's the most fucked up. And you know who put him in that position? The UFC. And that's why I'm like, the UFC is the bad guy here.
You see that Kelvin Gastelum 1 month ago on his YouTube channel posted like a taco eating review, and the name of the series is called Missing Weight with Kelvin Gastelum? I shit you not. You can't even make this shit up. Yeah, I made that same face when I read that. Like,
bro, he's so cooked.
Bro, if Kelvin Gastelum better watch himself around East LA, bro. I imagine D-Rod still has some goons out there on the streets.
Yeah, and
uh,
Kendrick United the streets, so no streets are safe now.
no, sir. But yeah, man, I feel bad for D-Rod too. This puts him on a 3L skid. He's 37 years old. Like, leave him. I don't know, bro. If I'm D-Rod, I'm booking the first, or I'm on the phone with PFL tomorrow, and I'm gonna go whoop Sada Boussy's ass and get a milli. Like seriously, because he's very good, but he's just like at this point of his career, he's unranked. He's on a 3L streak. I mean,
like I said, I hope the UFC, when they re-signed the middleweight contract and like up the weight, I hope that they doubled his pay, like right there on the spot. And that was the only way this is cool. Which, if they did, I don't have as near as much of a problem.
Talk about it when it comes to Trocoli, because they did some really cool shit in the same vein. They did it for Trocoli, and I'll get to that when we get to Trocoli's fight. Also, one last little suggestion: we can keep it pushing. He has the win over Mike Perry in the UFC. D-Rod, Mike Perry, bare knuckles, sign me up.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it, especially after Paul. Like that would be good timing for D-Rod to get in there toward the end of the year.
Talk about getting a bag, man. I think that would work all day. Now let's get. I just talked about Trocoli. Let's get to the most unwarranted hype train.
I think we're gonna have different takeaways.
Bro, I'm about to get my Kendrick Lamar level of hater on, bro. I hate the way he dresses. I hate the way he defends takedowns. Dude, I am out on Shara Bullet, bro. Let's get to it, man. We got Shara Magomedov minus 535, taking on Antonio Trocoli, who's had like 3 opponent switches in the past like 2 weeks.
Dude, this poor fucking guy.
This poor guy also performed like dog shit, but like kind of understandably so. I said from the jump, the only thing Trocoli has going for him is that he's 6'5", but it may even be a detriment because when you're 6'5", I think he usually fights at light heavy. It's an extra gnarly cut for him, and I think he had just like Ikram because he was supposed to fight Ikram, so he had
extra week on weight.
So he had to stay on weight, super like gnarly weight cut for him being 6'5" for 2 weeks, travel all the way to Saudi. And then Shara Bullet, man. I mean, I'll say this: Shara Bullet's kicks are like we talked about this before on the show.
It's crazy. Like he's like out of the Rush Hour movie. You know what I'm saying? Where the feet are slapping, like in Chris Tucker. He's like, which one of y'all was that? Like that's Shara Bullet's kicks.
No, Shara's kicks, like I said, like Madden rankings of the UFC video game, like his kicking level would be like the 99, right? Like his kicks, like in a vacuum, his kicks are right up there with what the Wonder Boys of the world, and I mean, like the elite kickers, Ian Gary, like that level.
His head movement, not that good, and also his positional awareness, not that good, and also his grabbing the fucking fence and preventing a takedown and not losing a point of position is pretty. It would be a 99 out of 100 too.
Reed, and also, bro, and this is where I was kind of out on Shara. I gave round 1 to Trocoli, bro. I gave round 1 to Trocoli.
Close. I have it as very close.
It was very close. It was very close.
I gave it to Shara, but I just said that I thought he landed the more damage, but I did think that obviously Trocoli controlled more. And then
so hear me out.
I mean, I had the bigger strikes. I think a lot of those were just like annoying strikes versus like actually impactful strikes from Trocoli.
Nobody was really lighting each other up there, but Shara's were mainly leg kicks, and
I liked
he had some gnarly leg kicks.
I liked them. Yeah, they were hard.
They were good. I guess I'm just have kind of caveman Matt, like give me punches to the head over the leg kicks, and you include the like clinch control time against the cage, which that's not where Shara wants to be, and where Shara showed piss poor ability to get out of that position. Yeah, it was very close, and I was kind of 50-50, but I gave it to Trocoli.
Let's see what the judges had here, because obviously we don't get.
I saw this already. I think one gave it to Trocoli, if I'm not mistaken. I think one judge gave round 1.
Yeah, one did. So yeah, we're both correct in saying very close round. It was a close round.
Yeah,
and for the wrong reasons, like snoozy close.
Yeah, for sure, bro. And then Trocoli fell off a cliff after round 2, and it probably has to do with being on weight weeks. Like I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because he was literally just standing there. Like it was like one of those Bob dummies that Sean O'Malley does the street fighting tip videos on. Like
I will
He was
say,
literally just standing there eating shots.
if he gets that takedown, he might win that round.
Oh, the fence grab.
Right.
Oh, I know.
Because it's
I
2
was
minutes left in the round, and he's going to get that takedown. Like, that's 100%. He has the leg elevated. He has the foot behind Shara's foot, like a fulcrum point. That he's getting that takedown if he doesn't grab the fence. There's no question.
I basically predicted it in that moment. My mom was watching the fights with me, and I was like, all right, so he just cheated to avoid that takedown. If he proceeds to win this fight on the feet, then, like, he literally, like, won the fight by cheating, like, ipso facto.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's yet another reason why I'm out on Charlotte Bullet, bro. You got to cheat to beat Trocoli, bro? Like,
and then, obviously...
now Bo Nickel's calling him out. Like, bro, I'm gonna bet my left nut on Bo Nickel if that fight gets made, bro.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Shara Bullet if that fight gets made, because I still think that's Bo Nickel minus 600, and I think stylistically that's a whole nightmare of a matchup for Shara. Like, a guy that likes to step backwards against Bo Nickel that will press you to the fence. Like, the way Shara was giving himself up to the fence is not the way to defend yourself against an elite wrestler, because an elite wrestler in MMA will get the takedowns off the fence.
And that's like 3 different boxes not checked. It's a fight IQ box. It's a footwork box. It's a, like, grappling / wrestling defense box. Like, there's so many unchecked boxes with Shara Bullet. And, like, yeah, I'm being kind of, like, you know, joking about being a hater and all that, but, like, it's really just, like, empirical observation. Like, these are things that he is not capable of doing.
I'll say it
And
this
then
way,
after
like,
the fight, he tried to say some bullshit where he was like, oh, of course I can wrestle, bro. I'm from Dagestan. That was his exact quote.
Yeah.
Like, I hate that type of mentality. Like, when dudes fight because they're from dudes think they're tough because they're from a certain neighborhood. Like I'll personalize it. I got the shit kicked out of me by a doctor's kid. Like, it don't fucking matter where you're from, bro. It really don't. Like guys that think they're tough because they're from a bad neighborhood. Like, no, that just meant your parents are poor, bro. That doesn't mean you can fight. I'm from Dagestan. I can wrestle, bro, because the reporter post-fight was asking him about the Bo Nickel call-out. And he's like, I'm from Dagestan. Like, oh, yeah, well, Trocoli just got, you know, came out of Jungle Fight a couple weeks ago, and he was able to, you know, give you problems with the wrestling. So, I don't know, bro. I'm so out of Shara. I'm out. And then Dana was saying he won't fight him in the States. So he's going to fight once a year in Abu Dhabi, maybe twice a year if they're doing the Saudi shows too. I mean... cannot the guy has good kicks. Cool. There's a lot of guys with good kicks. Like, I don't know, man. I'm pretty out on Shara. He's 13-0 now. I think he's only 2-0 in the UFC, and we saw Bruno Silva give him a lot of trouble. This is 2 fights in a row where, like, unranked Brazilians, like, gave him some trouble.
Well, I hate to be that guy, but I've been wanting to ask you what you think about another unranked Brazilian in Vitor Petrino. Vitor
Petrino? Oh, well, Vitor's, I think, light heavy, right?
Is he? Who?
I think Vitor's 205, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, man. For some reason, I thought he was 185. I was thinking about that as a perfect match.
Well, and I do the same thing with Shara. I keep thinking he's a welterweight because, like, I just think how he's kind of being shoved down. We didn't even talk about it. 3rd round, he gets the KO, punches, left hook really finishes him out. But, like, by round 3, Trocoli was literally a sitting duck. I don't know if he was gassed or what the situation was.
Definitely think he was gassed.
He was literally just standing there eating shots. And even then, the knockout wasn't, like, that dope. Like, it wasn't really a highlight. Like, you just kind of started punching the guy that wasn't defending. I don't know, bro. Call me. I'm Kendrick Lamar level of hater on Shara. I'm out. Like, I think there's so many guys that beat him. Like, even other strikers. Like, because, like, his boxing's not good. It's just the kicks.
Yeah, it's literally just the kicks. I agree. I think he's interesting. It's all matchup based with him. Like, if you give him a guy that is also a very good striker, I don't know that he does super well. Whereas when you give him a guy that's like a good mixed martial artist, he's good at mixing the martial arts enough to probably beat those guys.
You know what I wouldn't mind seeing? Because it's kind of too... I don't want to say fraud checks. I don't know if you consider that a fraud check or not. But Ruzboyev Shara would work for me. Like kind of 2 one-dimensional fighters that haven't showed very much depth to their game, but have some hype, have some, you know. Because like I think like a Kyle Baralho would destroy Shara. The Bo Nickel I think would destroy him.
I see. I wonder. I wonder about.
Kopylov would be a good fight, maybe.
Kopylov would be a very fun fight. That would be a very fun fight.
Maybe like a Bruno Ferreira too, like a Bruno Ferreira, like that level of guy. These are all guys from similar tiers in my power rankings. I think I'd be down for those fights. I think I would fade Shara in all three of those matchups. Maybe not Rusboyev, but also maybe Rusboyev because he's fucking 6'5".
Makes the most sense just based on like Shara can't fight over here, so like let's just get someone that's already over on that side of the world to fight this guy.
Yep, agreed. Maybe even like an Armin Petrosian, like that.
That's who the hell I was thinking of. That's who the fuck I was thinking of. Not Vitor Petrino, Armin Petrosian.
Petrosian, you can match that up. You can match that up because Petrosian also likes to throw a lot of kicks. Also, isn't like a world beater.
Petrosian, Petrino, you see what I did there?
Yeah. No worries. Yeah, and then as far as Trocoli goes, man, like, I don't. Oh, this is what I wanted to bring up too. We talked about like if they did right by D-Rod with the Dana Duffel and all that. So this actually got revealed. Trocoli got his show and win for the canceled Ikram fight and his show and win for this fight.
Oh, damn, that's fire.
So I think if they did that for Trocoli, I imagine they did something similar for D-Rod. At least one would hope. But like, yeah, I read that got like revealed through the media that like
I wonder if the Saudis kicked him some money for that.
Maybe. Yeah, but I mean, so Trocoli got taken care of very well. He basically got 4 checks for when he should have got 1 in theory. So yeah, he got taken care of. But he also, I don't know how to really feel about Trocoli. I honestly think it's like TBD. Like I think there were so many like external circumstances that like I wouldn't mind seeing Trocoli full camp, Apex or something like just to see what he even is. I don't even think we really got to see that.
If he fights at 205, sure. We need bodies, sure.
Yeah. Also, I think maybe going back up to 205. He's 6'5". Like,
right.
You're light heavyweight, bro.
We don't need more Rusboyevs.
We do not. Yeah, let's keep it pushing here. First fight on the main card. We were both stoked for this one. Matchmaking wise, we had a juicy prop on Oezdemir by KO here. Come out smelling like roses on that one. Johnny Chinny Walker is what we'll have to call him.
Johnny the Chin Walker.
Chin Walker. Like, bro, if you get Johnny Walker, Kelvin Gastelum's chin, bro, we got fucking, like, elite level. But his chin's just so bad. And it's not just the chin. Like, he backs up against the cage. So I'll finish introducing it. Johnny Walker, ranked 7, minus 130. Volkan Oezdemir, ranked 9, plus 110. Like, rankings-wise, perfect matchmaking. Vegas has it as basically a coin flip. And yeah, we got Oezdemir by KO at plus 180 because that was obviously going to be his path to victory. And Johnny Walker has shown a propensity to get knocked out like badly, cartoonishly, and that's what we saw yet again.
Yeah, that's what my biggest takeaway is that Oezdemir, big power, inside shots, will wade through shots to throw big inside power shots. Okay, so we already know that checkbox for Oezdemir right there. Now Johnny Walker, terrible striking defense, wants to throw big shots to get a cartoon-style knockout, and usually cartoonishly gets knocked out. For some reason, it felt like stylistically this was just Oezdemir by KO all day long. We talked about it on the pod. When we originally saw it was plus 260, which was like the craziest value. If anyone was able to lock that in that night, shout out to you. I'm so bummed.
Some sharps, like literally in the 12 hours between our betting pod and placing the bets, the line moved like 100 points. So the sharps definitely got in on that value with some big bets. Shout out to them. I'm jealous. Yeah, ends up being the only bet I cash all weekend is the Oezdemir by KO straight. So keeps me from getting blanked. But yeah, man, now, I mean, his wins are aging badly, bro. Now, granted, his L's are to like world-class guys, but I mean, even the Thiago Santos L, because he went on to really not do much after that. The wins, check out the wins. All have aged poorly. Ryan Spann aged poorly. Iron Kudalaba aged horribly. Paul Craig aged horribly. Anthony Smith, you can argue didn't age horribly. I don't hold it in that high of regard. Some people may push back on that. But I mean, the L's, the Ankalaev, Jamal Hill, Krylov, Corey Anderson, like those. he has. I mean, his last good win that's aged well was Khalil Roundtree back in 2018, and Roundtree's
Oof.
gotten much better since then. I wouldn't mind them running that back. Like
I
Roundtree's
agree.
gotten a lot better since then.
Well, they were trying to
But
build
also,
Roundtree Hill. Like I think they got Roundtree much higher than Walker at this point in how they view him.
as do I. But see, what Oezdemir did here is what I think that Pavlovich should have done. Obviously,
I
easier
couldn't agree
said
more.
than done.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. Wade through the fire,
Wade through,
get him on the fence, and throw fucking missiles till you connect, and their glass chin's going out. Couldn't agree more. This was exactly how Oezdemir had to fight this fight to get the KO that we bet on. This is exactly how we thought he would fight because honestly, he's down to do that. Like we've seen him do it before, and we've seen it not work for him. But typically, against a guy with a glassier chin than him, it works.
Yeah, and like I said, this is exactly what Pavlovich shoulda, coulda, woulda. You know what I'm saying? Done against Volkov. Granted, a much harder opponent to do it against. I fully acknowledge that Volkov's a lot better than Johnny Walker, and if ifs and buts were cherries and nuts. But like I said, this is what it would have looked like if Pavlovich his way in that fight. You know what I'm saying?
Couldn't agree more. Early too. It would have been early like that.
But yeah, man. I mean, Oezdemir gets a top 10 win. Let's look at his topology real quick.
He's fought
another guy
a lot of killers,
so
and
many
his
people.
losses have also aged incredibly well.
Yeah, so the Gustav win is aging well. First round, he's coming off 2 first-round knockouts in a row, man. The L to Krylov, like Krylov went toe-to-toe with Yuri. Like, I'm not going to shame you too much for that. The Paul Craig win, it is what it is. Lost to Ankalaev, a lot of people think will be a champ one day. Lost to Yuri,
Right, the losses
one of
have
the
aged
best in the
so
world.
well.
And then the win over Rakic, good. Back when he beat Latifi was like a legit guy. Not anymore, but this was back in 2019. And then he lost to Reyes in a split decision back when Reyes was like a world beater.
I was going to say, that's Reyes, like Jones version.
That's prime Reyes. He took him to a split decision. And then the loss to Anthony Smith, I think if they rematch that here in 2024, we're betting Oezdemir, right? So It's like, I'm kind of in on Oezdemir. He kind of has a crude style, if you will, but I mean, he's a badass, gnarly guy. Like, that's how he's going to fight. It's not going to look like Israel Adesanya or some technical. Like he's kind of a brawler, but
yeah, it's going to look like him, like
smartly.
It's going to look like him, like looking like a box, high elbows, getting in tight, pretty much eating a shot, but like expecting to eat it, and then just firing back with insane counter power.
I'm trying to think. Pull up the light heavyweight rankings real quick. Like, who could we match him up with?
So here, with Oezdemir winning against 7, he's probably going to go to 7. You got Krylov at 6, Rakic at 5, Blachowicz at 4, Hill at 3.
I was going to say Blachowicz would be sick.
Blachowicz Oezdemir is probably the fight. And honestly, probably going to bet Oezdemir, just based on the age. Like, Blachowicz is going to start to fade at some point, man. He's got to. He's 41.
Yeah, man. Or you could do Oezdemir Roundtree. I'd be fine with that. I think that'd be a banger. That's a good fight.
Oezdemir Roundtree would be fire.
That'd be sick.
Actually, let's do that. I'm more here for that. And I want to see I want to see Roundtree get fucking slept. I hate Khalil Roundtree. That's no secret here.
Yeah, but like that would be a war. That would be a war because Roundtree would be the crisper, faster, probably more technical fighter. But Oezdemir is going to just make it nasty, man. Yeah, I'm here for that one. And then Walker, man, it's like starting to get kind of like sad in a way because like only fights for him are like basically feedings, right? Like you're gonna feed him.
I mean,
like
it's probably a Guskov feeding.
Guskov?
Oh, you know what?
Or Olberg.
What about Reyes?
Somebody like that. Like I don't think any of these fights are like going to go great for him. They're all guys with nuclear power that you can't fight at light heavyweight with a glass chip. People have been saying this for like the past like 4 years. Like Johnny Walker maybe should go to heavyweight, which sounds crazy if you're saying like, oh, you have a chin problem, but you're not going to cut weight. You're going to have the speed advantage.
Oh yeah, you want to see another Walter Walker?
Well, is that not what we're seeing here anyway? Like what's the
I just think
difference?
they both have zero fight IQ, and like if you can't learn to fight, then it doesn't matter what gifts you have if you don't know that you can use them or how to use them.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. Like what? I guess just retire then. Like I don't know.
Yeah, or do slap fighting. Like I don't know, man, because like you hear Kavanaugh is
for slap fighting.
Not if he wins the draw. You hear You hear
Sports sucks so much.
yeah, it's terrible. You hear Kavanaugh in the corner like, pump the jab, Johnny, pump the jab. How many jabs you see Johnny Walker throw? Next to none. So it's like he's not listening to his coaches. He changes camps halfway through his career after he dislocates his shoulder doing the worm. Reckless abandon is his fight style, but he's got a glass chin, so it doesn't work anymore. So I don't know what.
Yeah, but
to
also, like, even the reckless abandon, that would imply that he like goes forward and swings bombs. Like he kind of just like walks backwards and gets chin.
He
like,
used to like walk forward and swing bombs.
What, like 6-7 years ago? Like that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and then he
like,
dislocated his shoulder, and then he started fighting like more on his back foot, started getting KO'd more and more, and now his chin is made of glass. His brain is ready to shut down at the moment a big strike lands. I mean, the way he gets knocked out is like disgusting. Like his like stiff as a board, like body like convulsing. Like he does not get knocked out well.
I got a weird matchmaking that like kind of somewhat makes sense, and it would give him a fighting chance for one reason and one reason only. Azamat Murzakanov, undefeated, shortest guy in the division, 5'10". Like if you can't figure out a game plan for this Johnny Walker, it ain't ever gonna happen. 6'6" versus 5'10", like the only way, like he's in a competitive fight. And keep in mind though, Murzakinov's like a world-class kickboxer, so like still might not go great for him.
Here's what I think: you're giving Dom Reyes one last run because he actually looked good in his last fight. Walker Reyes sells. Could damn near be a fight night main event on like a shitty Apex card.
Bro, did you see the latest Apex main event that got released?
Correct.
Lemos
Yandy. Yeah,
bro.
That's my point.
Yeah, you could do Walker Reyes. You could do it.
Yeah. So I'm saying like that's probably the route to go, just because you can use those two names on a fight night in a 5-rounder. You can let Reyes have his last run at the belt and kind of get Johnny Walker the fuck out of there without having to like really ruin him. Because, dude, if he
Johnny
fights
Walker, you can give him Alonzo Man.
If he fights Murzakanov and wins, then you're more fucked as the UFC. Like, you need to give him a fight that you're pretty sure he's going to lose, but is name value worthy.
If you really just hate him and really want to send him to the Shadow Realm, Alonzo Minifield.
I thought about Minifield. I also thought about Guskov. Guskov just power bombs Guskov out of nowhere.
Man, it's like sad, but the only reason why it's not sad, division sucks, and he's part of the reason why this division sucks. Like having Johnny Walker ranked 7 is a bad look. Like it's, you know what I'm saying? Like even top, like, yeah, bro. But I mean that wraps up the main card. Shout out to Oezdemir for keeping us from blanking at the sports book. Yeah, Oezdemir by KO, cash is plus 180. So I basically get like 50% of my money back, like or 45% of my money back.
Yeah, I got 56% of my money back.
Yeah, you were smart. You had 2 units on it. I was jealous of that for sure. If I would have had 2 units on it, I would have basically broken even. Or it'd been like 85% of my money back or whatever. I just did a little sprinkle. But yeah, we'll be right back here in a moment with the prelims. And that wraps up the main card. Check us out on at Beefy Breakdown, on Instagram at Beefy Boys Breakdown. And of course, like and subscribe to this video. We do a betting video with our picks every week. Like I said, our parlay is the way we assembled it, but we still, like, I got 2 silver medals on verdicts. We give you a lot of solid picks. We just, the value gremlins get in our ear, and we try to assemble these kind of lofty parlays, but we still give out plenty of winners. We gave you the Oezdemir by KO, so check out our betting episodes.
No doubt, and we might have found a new guy to run fades against to really juice our bets. This guy went 0 for 18. Sometimes we talk about how it's just as hard as going 18-0. We'll talk about that more in the prelims, and we'll be right back for those. Like and subscribe.